Okay.
All right, you guys, hanging with Langan today. You just saw her beautiful face right there. My friend, the talented, the gifted, the gorgeous, the wonderful, Laurie Kilmartin, everybody. Laurie Kilmartin.
Maureen.
Thanks for doing this, because you were just telling me your mom blew a hip and your son's taking care of her, like in the hallway. Like, what's happening?
This fucking quarantine and quarantining with an old person. Honestly, if COVID was just killing old people, I'd be like, let it happen. I can't do this anymore. But it could kill me, so I'm very concerned.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
But she's in horrible shape anyway, and her hip just popped out of its socket. But it's like a fake hip, so I don't know. It's a little less. Someone's coming, and I told my son, you have to take care of grandma for the next half hour because I have a work thing. So,
Laurie, this is insane.
It's awful. I'm not a nurse. You know me. I don't give a shit about people. So the fact that I have to feed somebody and wipe them is it's awful.
It that bad?
It has been. This week, her whole body is like collapsing. It's not COVID. It's just being 82 and never taking care of yourself, I guess. I don't know.
No, I know. Listen, my dad's in the hospital right now, you know.
He is?
Yeah, he's 82. But he's like, there's an ox inside him, the South Bronx guy. He's walking around anemic for 2 years. His heart's like he's falling down on the front yard. And he's like, I'm fine, get away from me. I'm fine. You know, fine. He's insane. He's like, mental, like, you know, that South Bronx. But you know what? He has like 180 lives. But the COPD, the smoking his whole life, the drinking, the unfiltered cigarettes, the pounds of Entenmann's cake. Fine.
Yeah.
And he will be. I think he will be. I mean, it's scary. But, you know, look. I know, and you have to have the dark humor. I don't know. I do that like you do. I just flip it and say the darkest things.
I don't even think it's dark humor. I'm like, no, this is how I really feel. It's not. I'm not like, oh, let me twist my feelings into darkness.
I see.
I'm here already.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that I like my father better than you like your mother, is what we're saying. Is that what you're saying to me?
Sure. My dad, in these conditions, my dad would be much easier to take care of. He's just a different personality. And, you know, people that have a normally whiny personality, when they get sick, it's horrendous for the caretaker.
Laurie Kilmartin, my friend and a comic, you wrote a book that was really popular when your dad was dying, right? What's it called? Dead People Stuck?
I wrote it after he died. It's called Dead People Suck, and it's like comedy about hospice and losing a parent and cancer and grief and everything that happens before and after. It's just these short little chapters that have a lot of jokes in them, but based on my experience with my dad.
It was intense, and just the way you were able to create through such pain. I thought it was really terrific.
Thank you.
But anyways, you have a teenager and a mother. Am I allowed to say that? Both in one house?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're working from home?
Yeah. We're still in production, although this was a hiatus week, but next week we're working. It's like a dark working week where we're not putting shows on the air, but we're sort of working on pieces for the following week when we are coming back.
And if you're just tuning in, Laurie Kilmartin is my friend and my guest, and she is a comic and a writer for Conan O'Brien, along with our buddy Brian Kiley. I love that guy.
Yeah, I love Kiley. Yeah.
Guys, so when Conan went down from an hour to a half hour, the two of you were kept out of the whole crew, right? I believe.
Yeah. I mean, we were down to 3 monologue writers at that point, and then we got down to the 2 of us, I think that's the minimum, because you have to have one person in case the other person's having a bad day. You know what I mean? Like between the 2 of us, we can kind of cover it. But yeah, so it got tinier for sure.
And I've asked Brian, I'm going to ask you, people love knowing the behind the scenes. How long what is your routine like? I mean, you're prolific as a writer. I mean, you're always on Twitter. Here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. Like, how many jokes are you coming up with a day? And what are you gleaning all the papers? Like, what's your process?
Well, it's different now. But I don't look at papers. There's no newspapers anymore, Maureen. I don't know if you have, it's weird. I went on a walk on a Sunday recently and I saw the LA Times, the Sunday Times, and it was like this thick. And I was like, oh my God, it felt like a punch in the stomach. I just hadn't noticed what's happening to Sunday papers. Awful. Anyways.
The .com. You go on the .com to read the sources.
But in the old days, yeah, I used to look at papers, used to look at the New York Post and the Daily News. And yeah, now I have a few sites where they pick good stories, you know, they can find some weird stories. And then there's, you know, Drudge he's an awful guy, but he can read a story and pick out a good quote that you can use. So he's good for sussing out like clickable content.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful, or I don't have to read a gigantic, you know, Atlantic article to get a quote about something. You know, Drudge has already done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kind of go through that, and now we just throw our jokes on a Google Doc, and Conan's monologue is really short now. Sometimes he doesn't do one. But we keep writing jokes in case he does. So it's a little, you know, the show's so different right now because of the quarantine that we're all sort of, I think we would all, I know, rather be in the studio writing jokes for an audience to hear, you know?
Yeah.
And I think every host would rather be performing in front of a crowd instead of their family or just the iPhone that they've set up, you know?
It's interesting. You watch you watch late night, or you watch, like, say, Bill Maher, you can see the first few weeks how uncomfortable without the immediate laughter. Like,
yeah.
Just to be more of a broadcaster than a performer.
Yeah.
So I could see the difference. What, you know, we get asked this question, well, a lot, but where are we headed with all of this? I mean, Broadway is committed to being closed through Labor Day. You know, we got to be in tight rooms to do stand-up. I know you've been doing some online. I've been very reluctant to do that. So where's your head with all that?
I do a lot of Zoom shows. They're fine. You know, I've written jokes and fleshed out bits and stuff. So it's working, but it's all in hopes of the day that we get to be in clubs together again. I don't know. I mean, you know, like they keep learning more about the coronavirus. And so everything keeps changing. And now it's what I'm hearing, and I'm not a doctor, but it's like, it's safer to be outdoors than indoors, you know? So I think, like, in theory, you could have an outdoor comedy show, people seated very far apart and masked. Now, is that fun for anyone? I don't know, but maybe our definition of fun will change so much in the next, you know, 6 months that we'll be thrilled to be in a beekeeping suit, but outdoors, enjoying a comic who's also dressed head to toe in plastic.
Yes.
Maybe that'll be a great night out. I mean, until there's like a vaccine, we can't gather. The whole thing about comedy that's so fun. I mean, and I was at Acme in Minneapolis in late February, when, like, you know, you heard, oh, Seattle's having a problem, and it's like, it was just starting to roll into the United States, and it's like, is this going to be the last time we're going to be like this for a while? Like, the first show Saturday was sold out, and it was so fun, but there was this feeling of, is this it? You know, because I didn't have any more road weeks for a few months after that, and I don't know. It was a little, but I could not have imagined it getting as bad as it did. And then I was in New York a couple weeks later, like right before New York shut down, and you know, then it was just really eerie. You know, even the clubs I was working were sparsely attended.
It's very eerie. I did 2 gigs for seniors, like around St. Patrick's Day. They you know, they bust in all the Irish wannabes. And,
where? In New York?
One was Staten Island and one was the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
So, you know, I live in Manhattan, so I just trekked myself out there on ferries, subways, and rental cars. So if there's any source of germs, I touched it. And I'm looking around, and I'm so not a germaphobe because I grew up with the Irish mother. You throw mud on it, you're fine. Stop. Like, everything's, you know, so you don't get like any attention. You get negative attention if you aren't feeling well.
Was your mom from Ireland?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a triple dose.
What the hell is wrong with you? You're good for nothing, lazy lump. You know, like, my father, who collapsed because his heart isn't working and is now in the hospital. Well, you get up and bring the groceries into the kitchen. For the love of God, would you stop making a show? He died, almost died. His blood level was like at a 4. It's supposed to be at a 12. Dragged himself.
Wow.
This is how I grew up. I had bee sting in my toe and my leg blew up to the knee, I said, Mom, I think there's something wrong. This is when I'm a kid. Well, just stop it. Just throw some mud on it. You'll be fine. I'm like, I will. All right. All right. So this is how, but
was your mom born in 1812? Like,
well, you know what? It might, 36, 7, 8, 36. No running water, no electricity, 10 kids on a farm.
Where in Ireland?
County Cavan, about in the Midlands. So if you go look at the middle of Ireland, it's the county that borders the north, but it's not the north.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's striking the levels of poverty in Ireland when the rest of, say, the first world was actually, popping.
It's very different. And the interesting thing is because my father's family his parents are Irish, and they come from a tenant farmer background where you rent the land, and those are the people starved during the famine because their potato crop, and they couldn't pay their little corner of the property that they grew their potatoes. Whereas my mother comes from a line of people who they own their land. I mean, they weren't, lords of land. They owned tons and tons of acres.
Were they Protestant?
No, Catholic.
Oh, that's not common, right?
Well, no, it is to own your own land, and it's also common. It's just they had land their whole. I've gone back to the 1700s, and it's been in the family.
Wow.
And my mother's grandmother was educated. I mean, these weren't rich; these were working class people. But if you owned your own land, you had more safety and options.
Yeah, of course.
It was just your land. They couldn't kick you out like renting an apartment in Manhattan. You had something to hold on to. But I asked her, and this is about you, but I think you'll like this story. I asked her what stood out to her most on her first day in America. And she said, Jesus, I get to my Aunt Mary's apartment on East 68th Street. And when I walk in, what should I see right there next to the kitchen but an indoor bathroom? An indoor bathroom right there next to the kitchen. I couldn't believe my eyes. Disgusting, putting a toilet right next to where you eat. Jesus, we didn't have much on the farm, but we had the good sense to go out back and do our business far away from our food.
Oh my God. She has a point, honestly.
Right. So you know what, too? I watched you trudge through the clubs like we all do, and we still trudge through.
Tell me about your shows in Staten Island and Jersey.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for being a good listener. I got off sidetrack. No, there were 200 seniors at each show. And I'm like, are we still doing these shows?
Wow.
They're like, yeah. I'm like, this is right before St. Patrick's Day. So it was right at that turning point.
Yeah, that's when I was in New York. I think I flew back the day before St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
I flew back then too because I'm in California because my lover lives here, and my lover and my friend is an emergency room nurse said, get the hell out of New York. It's going to be like Italy in 2 weeks. Come on, really? Right?
Yeah.
So I just was surprised. I knew I'd be fine, but I'm like, what about these people? What's going to happen to these people?
Yeah.
I think they're all alive. And I got paid. So you understand, Laurie? It's win-win.
Here's the thing, Maureen, is at that time, I think we could all assume you and I would be fine, but now I wouldn't assume it. Now I've read so many stories of deaths of like, healthy middle-aged people. It's like, what? Oh shit. I'm in danger too,
Well, I know, we don't know. And I isolate anyway, so it's easy for me. I swear I isolate so much when I'm not working.
Yeah.
I really do. So anyway, it's all insane out there, and I don't know when we're going to get back to some sense of normal. But, you work a lot, I work a lot. You really work a lot. I mean, here you have the full-time job, you're a single mom, you're just a machine. Like, I don't know how you do it. Like, and then you write books, and then you take care of your mother. I don't know how in the world you do all that you do.
Well, I haven't had sex in 4 years, so that helps. I mean, seriously, I've just totally blocked out that part of my life. I'm like, I'll wait till she dies and he gets older. Then I'm going to be a complete, like, hoe. It's going to be, I'm getting every STD possible.
Good.
When my son is like a sophomore.
So funny. Well, I guess you can't. I mean, you could have sex. You could fit it in somewhere, quickie, somewhere.
Yeah, it's too much drama right now.
Drama. But what I was talking about is like, you do all this, you work. A lot of people are very interested, and I watched you do the work, how you became a writer on Conan. And I know but tell people how you focused and got there in your career.
I mean, it's not really anything a story anyone hasn't heard before. I just I did packets. I did a couple packets for them when they were late night, when it was the Tonight Show, and then the TBS one was the one that put me over the top.
And people need to, because people watching this who aren't in the comedy world, a packet, tell them what that is.
Just a bunch of jokes and sketch ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also did it like you, I remember when Colin Quinn had his show
Tough Crowd. Yeah.
You were on that as a writer or a producer.
That was my first writing job. Yeah. Yeah.
And I will never forget how you reached out to women in the community and really tried to get us on that show.
Well, there were hardly any women on the show. It was, I was aghast. So, I mean, and there were shows where it was all men talking about birth control. Like, what is happening?
Like administration, I know.
So I think, especially in comedy at that time, it was, there were female comics, but if you look at the club bookings, they're like, no, you could do a Wednesday show, right? It was just bad. So I think that's the way all shows were booked at that time. Letterman hardly had female comics on. They just overlooked female comics constantly. So, it wasn't just Tough Crowd, but it was incredibly exasperating, But they started at the second season, started doing more, getting better.
I remember the producer reached out to me because of your recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he said, yeah, you know what? It's just that I think you're too sweet for the show. Do you know how many times I've been told by a manager or a booker that I'm too sweet? I'm a nice person, Laurie, but
no, here's the thing. You're a stone cold bitch. Everyone knows it. So I can't believe anyone would say you were too sweet.
Just ask some of the guy comics as you walk into a club and they don't think you hear them.
God.
I mean, are you kidding me? I could run circles intellectually around half those circus clowns that were on those seats. I mean, come on. No,
I mean, yeah.
There were some great circus clowns too. Don't get me wrong. We're
brilliant. I think like they definitely had. I mean, it was built around the regulars at the table at the Comedy Cellar, which was all men except for maybe Carrie Carabas, right?
Yeah.
She was like the only woman who consistently worked there.
Yeah.
At that time, and then that started breaking open a little bit, and so, but it was very sexually segregated for a long, the comedy scene was, and just like who was allowed to be part of, and it's not like that now. It seems like, I mean, the Cellar's like when it, was open, they had a ton of female comics and everyone was sort of friends and they all piled on each other, at the table, kind of like how the old group of just dudes did. And I think via Tough Crowd now with those cliques of comics, it would be great, Oh, yeah. I mean, it was great too. It's just good to have different voices talking about issues. That's all.
Of course it is. That's why I'm glad you're a writer on Late Night. And again, look, I love those guys that were on it, of course. But I'm saying when they would bring different guests on, it's not like the sweet one in the corner can't hold her own with that one over there. Don't worry.
Right. Or there's a way too, like it's always tough to be the only woman in a situation. So, book two women on the same show so neither of them feel the pressure of being the female voice, and then you just have the pressure of being your own voice. That's hard enough anyway.
I like that. That's and that's it too. It's like, when Letterman made some gaffes, making references, I remember back in the day about Sarah Palin's daughter, if you had women writers on the staff, they would be like, all right, that's too far, dude. Or no, that, you'd be able to.
Or they just wouldn't be writing those jokes. I mean, once those jokes, I think in his process, he wasn't meeting with the monologue writers. So, but you'd have one less person submitting Bristol is a slut jokes, I guess. I don't know.
You remember. Yeah. Well, all right. So I know you've been spending a lot of time and your mother has a hip issue out in the hallway. Let me ask.
She's on the floor in the hallway. I'm like, I have to be on Maureen's show. You hold your own for a second. Please don't wail for 30 minutes.
So New York or LA, where would you prefer to live?
New York. Yeah. I still have my place there, so.
You do? Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. I moved to the Upper West, by the way, from Midtown East. I love it.
Oh, you're such an Upper Wester. Right? You must love it.
Yeah, because even though I'm Irish Catholic, I'm Jewish. I always say I'm Jew. I love it. By Riverside Park and
what subway are you near?
The one. You don't like the one?
It's fine, I guess.
What do you like?
Well, I'm near the A and the D, so.
You're better than me. I got what you're doing. Lady. You're on the same. Well, I
I'm
like.
near, I'm near an express stop. I don't want to.
Well, I'm not by the 2 and 3 as well.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Right there. Bam.
We're even.
We're even. These people are like, what the hell are they talking about? I see you. I raise you. Okay, so New York, and then how can we support what you're doing? Like, what do you want people to follow you? Get your books? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy Dead People Suck. It's buy it from an independent bookseller if possible. If it's comedy about cancer and hospice, so if you're listening to this show, you probably would like it.
Yeah,
and then I have a podcast with Jackie Cation, and it's called The Jackie and Laurie Show. And if you like to hear two women talking, which I assume you do because you're listening to that now, you probably like our podcast.
Yeah, and guess what? There's a lot of different kinds of women in the world, so there's different points of view. And
yeah.
Yeah, and if you like the show and you like what we're doing, you want to keep hearing more of this, I do it every day, Monday through Friday. I have Joey Cola joining me on Monday. You can support the show by buying any of my products at my store, Mo. They're all Don't Make Me Hate You products. So I'll show these to you. Here it's my shirts, Don't Make Me Hate You.
That's great.
Yeah, and I have the masks, Laurie, too, Don't Make Me Hate You. Baby clothes, everything. Go to molangan.com. My store's right there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I do that. And if people want to do a donation to PayPal or Venmo, it's go to my website, maureenlangan.com, molangan.com. It's all there. Don't make me hate you.com. It all funnels there. But it's PayPal.me/Mo Langan and Venmo.
Cool.
Mo Langan. I got to tell people this. I mean, this is the work, Laurie.
You can put it as a banner underneath you.
Yeah, well. I'm going to do that. Not with Zoom. I don't think you can. Can you?
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah. Sorry. I forgot. We're on a conference calling app.
I'm on a conference call. I'm in a meeting room. So I'm moving to StreamYard next week. So that
okay.
That's it. That's what I'm doing. Listen, let us know how your mother is.
Nah. You'll hear.
It's really great to see you. Everybody loves you, Laurie. You know that.
Oh, well, I love you. Thanks for having me on.
Bye, sweetheart. Thanks a million. Mwah.
Okay. Bye.